He comes from a lineage of great sages, yogis, and saints from India. He began his spiritual journey at the age of 7 and was fully realized by the age of 14. During this time, he delved into different practices and acquired mastery over Tantra, Mantra, Yantra, Aghori practices, and Yaksha sadhana. He was a siddha, and many masters, saints, and sages used to visit him in solitude to gain wisdom and guidance from him since the tender age. Although he has been helping humanity since childhood, he never disclosed this part of him to the world, and only the advanced yogis and masters were aware of his divine presence. Only in the last 2 years he chose few people from the world and started guiding them in their spiritual paths, and those who have been closely associated with him have witnessed many miracles in his presence. Despite being a family person, he is a yogi and intends to help people entangled in this world achieve Jivan Mukti, liberation, while being alive. He is truly in the world but not of the world, and if you really want to understand him, look him beyond his physical appearance and just sit with him, and you will never be the same again. In his presence you will transcend your body and mind and experience the state of Sat, absolute truth, Chit, pure consciousness, Ananda, eternal bliss. Let us fold our hands in front of his divinity and with a heart filled with gratitude and love welcome our spiritual guru, the realized soul, and our enlightened master, Guru Meenakshi Mishra.
शिवं शिवकरं शान्तं शिवात्मनं शिवोत्तमं शिवमार्गप्रणितार्थं प्रणमामि सदाशिवम् प्रणमामि सदाशिवम् प्रणमामि सदाशिवम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अहं ब्रह्मास्मि। Good morning, everyone, and good evening to the people from the other part. स्वागत है सभी का. So here we are with another session of events and stories. I believe like my stories were good enough that some people could not wake up today. So they are still in that sleep. And good that some people are still awake to listen to our stories. So just as we begin this session, and as we go ahead with the second part of it. So the one thing that we have to start even before listening to all those things, because as you might have already known by this time, they are not like stories, those are like events that molded everything for me. And so in order to you also coming to that space, did my voice stop for some time? Was it? No? Good.
No, it's clear now.
Okay. So my computer keeps on showing that the mic has changed. I believe like he is also trying to act like that child who is ready for passing on that. So how about starting it in this way? I narrate you or I navigate you to that realm altogether. How can that be done is you are very good at imagination. You cannot be in the past or the future except your mind. So why not utilize the same power that was given by the gods to us, to utilize it to go back in time, travel back in time, and just even see as if you were there listening along with me. So I'll help you because शब्द कमजोर हैं लेकिन सहायक हैं. Words might be very less powerful but are helpful. So we will use those helpful words to make you powerful. So that would be a good way of doing, right? So here we begin, and in order to go back to your childhood, can I ask you, like, if you remember your childhood, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? You can type it. What is that one thing? Some people thinking like बहुत देर हो गया बचपन बीत के. Then they have killed that child within themselves. देखो, mango grooves, कागज के नाव, मदर, देखो, dad's oil malish, वाह, spending summers at grandma village, makeshift swings, sugarcane fields, free mind, no tension, nani ma, gilli danda. So when you listen to all these things, it feels as if these were not happened like years ago. It's like happening now. And if you were given a chance to do that again, siblings. So if you are given a chance to do all that again, how would that be? It might look childish. It might look like, बट वैसे भी बड़े होके कर क्या रहे हो? एक चीज तो पक्का कर लियो, like one thing you have done it for sure. You have started acting grown up. Acting, right? So what would be a good life? Like acting something that you don't connect with, or being what you are? The same question asks, like, when you go and stand in front of the mirror and you look at yourself, you might say, okay, so this is growing old, but do you feel like that within you? किसी को आज तक लगा है? हाँ, वो अपने आप को मिरर में देखते हो तो आई लुक ओल्ड नाउ. नो, आई लुक ओल्ड. व्हाट लुक्स ओल्ड इज समथिंग डिफरेंट देन व्हाट यू आर. I look grown up. But within you, deep down, have you ever felt old? You won't. There is not a possibility because every moment you are new. Every moment your thoughts are new. Every moment your wishes are new. Every moment the way you are looking at the things is new. So everything is changing. But living like an inquisitiveness of a child, that creates the magic. Yesterday I was talking to someone and they were asking like, how can I be in this world and still think of reaching to heaven? हाँ, आप तक नहीं पहुंचे, आप तो स्वर्ग भी नहीं चाहिए. But people still are there, those who wish for heaven, right? So I said, If you want to reach for heaven, the first thing is you have to have a desire of heaven. He says, उससे क्या होगा? मेला यथामति तथागति. You should have a desire of heaven, yet free of this world. Now, how can that be? Well, because if you have the desire to be in the heaven and you are still stuck in this world, at the end of the time, you will again stay back and you will come back here. You will never reach heaven. So having the desire to reach heaven and free from all that is happening here. You remember that goose, like the birds flying and creating a shadow in the water. You do everything, yet attached to nothing. And when we look at our childhood, we also had some desires, we also had some attachments at that time. That attachment might be to a toy, to a place, to a person. It was still there. But have you seen, like, kids, how easily they forget? I have seen that quite amazingly because I have a kid growing at home. So I have seen like how much you fight with them, how much you shout at them, how much you tell them anything. Within few moments, they are back. And they connect back to you so easily that now you are feeling guilty. अरे मैंने क्यों किया ये? Why did I said like this? Why did I do like this? But that's how the children are. That's how the kids are. So living like a kid, free of those tantrums, free of all those drama. You do it, but you leave it instantaneously. You don't hang on to that. So let me help you if I have new stories, new significant events that have molded us. So I'm going to take you to that space. So you have to close your eyes. The easiest way to travel anywhere is close your eyes. The moment you close your eyes, you can remember anyone in this world. You can remember any place in this world. You can remember anything in this world without any visa, without any tariffs, without any travel. So you close your eyes and God has given you such a powerful space. You close your eyes and you are absolutely there. So rather than you roaming around here and there because you are now a kid, so somebody will be roaming in the field, somebody on the rooftop, somebody playing with somebody, I'll not allow you to do that because or else you will get lost somewhere and you might tell a story to me now. How would that be? A day where you tell stories and we all listen. A story might be of your childhood, a story that changed your life forever. Won't that be good? But the problem is if I ask you who are all those people, those who are going to tell the story. How many of you can raise your hands? Can you raise your hands now? So that at least I know on that session who are going to tell the stories. Okay, so Suma ji is raising her hand. Sasi ji is still thinking, shall I tell a story or not? प्रीति जी कहते मेरे तरफ तो देखो ही मत आप, मैं सुन सकती हूँ, बोलना मुश्किल है. और नवनीत जी कह रहे पकड़ लिया. सुधा जी के पास जाएंगे नहीं क्योंकि वो बोल देंगी. So again, I gave you a chance to be you. And did you saw how easily we don't accept those things? मैंने अभी कहा ना, it's all about being a child. A child does not bothers what others think. That's why it is happy. Why are you unhappy? There's only one difference, right? It does not think what others think about it. And you think what will others think about you. That keeps you stuck in life, isn't it? Chalo. So I don't believe like anybody will tell the story. So I have to start only. Close your eyes. Now, as you close your eyes, I want the horses of your mind to run today. मतलब दिमाग के घोड़े दौड़ाना पड़ेगा आपको. Uh, Take a simple breath and try to imagine the place, the smell of that place where you were a child. Easiest connectivity would be the smell of the soil after rain. Now, many of you might have already started dancing in the rain. I know that because you are advanced beings. I say about the smell and you start dancing in the rain, but still enjoy. And you remember that space, right? वो कागज की कश्ती, वो बारिश का पानी. Now just imagine a silent courtyard, yeah, a small little place, a veranda. And if you go back to that space, it would feel like time is moving, but that time is moving like a breath. आपके सांसों की तरह चल रही है समय. And then imagine an old man with eyes deeper than the sky and a boy sitting at his feet asking questions that lived in all our hearts. हमारे अंदर के सारे प्रश्नों को वो जो पूछ रहा है बैठ के. And today I'll again take you there to those moments that shaped me, moments that still echo like thunder in my soul, moments that are not stories, that are awakenings. That itself should bring a smile on your face. And now you can open your eyes as I unfold the events in front of you. So, the first story that I would like to walk you through, or the first incident, is it was like my initial days when they took me to the cremation grounds in the daytime to showcase some process. ये उसका समय. It was daytime, it was not night. And I was given I have gone by that time, 2 or 3 times I have been there. And what I saw is like the last 2 times I have seen how they draw everything and how they were doing all the rituals, right? I felt doing like that. And I was stunned that one story that Sudhaji shared last evening seemed so quite close to me that I was looking like for 2 times I saw like how they were doing, and today they were doing something else, and in the meantime I was preparing the main that ground that has to be created. So there was a small little हवन करने का जगह होता है ना, like a sacred pit, fire pit. It was already there in the ground. It was ready. And it was I just surrounded with durva grass. Like आप सोचो एक मिट्टी का जगह है. It's like all clay, and there is a fire pit, and I have kept all the durva grass around it. Before that, I have taken the cow dung and wiped it all around, and then I have topped it with sandalwood से सजा दिया है, and ghee mixed with sindoor was drawn, एक छोटा सा यंत्र. And while doing so, I had chanted or recited the mantras perfectly. And at that time, I was just about to light the fire pit. Before the puja starts, you take certain mantras, and I was about to light the fire. That very moment, JJ appears. And you know what he did? Without even saying a word, he completely dismantled what I have done. I took like 20 minutes time to do those arrangements, and I was perfectly chanting. I was sitting there, but suddenly he appears and he just wipes it off. Now, what would happen to you when something happens like this? You created something and somebody comes and wipe it off. Of course, we get enraged, and I was says, why would you do that? And in that moment, I still remember the way he was looking at me. He simply said, he looked at me with a very sharp eyes and said, you cannot invite the fire with pride. You cannot invite the fire with pride. Agni does not bow to arrogance. Rather, when you burn your ego, the fire lights itself. And then he said, you already know whom you are summoning, to which goddess you are calling upon. And remember, the goddess is not summoned by your comfort. She arrives when the ego is destroyed, not when the bricks and mortars are arranged, rather, when the head of ego has been torn apart. Did you saw the same person who was so nicely talking to me in the household setting talks to me in a different way in that space? Because their life would not be easy when you are starting your sadhana. So they have to be strong and they have to make you strong. And when he was saying all this, that when the ego burns down, the fire burns itself. And that very moment, that was my lesson, that if I have to do any kind of sadhana, first and foremost thing, I should throw away that ego that I did something. Because what he was trying to do is, you cannot do anything until they wish you to do so. And in that moment, I still remember, I just didn't know what happened. But what I saw was the shattered things. I felt like that's how I was. My ego was shattered in a place. And I was just sitting down there on that dirt. वही मिट्टी के ऊपर बैठ गया था. And that night, when I was contemplating like what happened in the day, something far greater than fire started within me. And that fire became the igniting force. That fire became a space. And every time I see that ego rising, I still remember the hands of Kali as she's holding a head. And he says, okay, so whenever you appear, this has to be taken apart. What does it indicate? It simply indicates the same thing, that she will torn apart the ego first, then only she appears. Or whenever she appears, the ego has to be torn apart. That day I realized that rituals don't really summon the gods. Surrender does. If you surrender, they will appear. So the question that I have for you from this small little incident, are you still seeking God on your own terms? That this should happen this way, this should happen that way? Then remember, the first ahuti in any yagna, in any homa that you should do, that should be your ego. The day you learn that secret art, आपका यज्ञ करने का तरीका बदल जाता है. We have seen many people doing yagna like, oh, but that's not the way. The havan, the yagna should not only happen outside, because it's a purification process. The purification should also happen within us. So while doing any kind of sadhana, any kind of puja, always remember, in order to call her up, you need to do all these things. And I still remember that night, that day was the preparation for Adya Kali Puja. And I still remember how beautifully he broke my ego, because I was thinking like, oh, I also know how to do Kali Puja. How I know how to do all these processes. And I'm so happy that he taught me the first lesson the first day itself. And that is how everything goes into play. But you know what? Our ego does not stop with one go. It keeps on popping up again and again and again and again. Might be today you said that, okay, so I've surpassed that. The very next day it's again appear, and without telling you also. So do you think I must have left it at one go? No, we still work on that. It's like a work in progress. So when I was, another incident that I remember is, it was like, so it was like the, एक होता है ना, एक हर मोहल्ले का एक कुआं होता था, a well for all the community people. Everybody had well at their homes also, and then there was a community well. So it such happened that in nearby community there was a well, and I was there. And you know what I was doing? I was arguing with another person who was elder than me, but I was arguing with him about the processes. And why I was arguing was, I was looking at him the way he was describing the things about the processes, and I thought I knew it right rather than what he is saying. And you know, the reason behind every fight? I am right. So that's the thing was happening, and I was fuming. And I was just going from here and there like, what this person is doing. And I was saying, look at him. He is so full of arrogance. He is so full of himself. And there I saw my grandfather standing there and told, look at this fellow. How arrogant he has become. He does not know me. He does not know what I do. He does not know I have learned from you. And look at him, what he is saying. I was chanting mantras better. You know what he did? What he did? He just somehow, I don't know from where he gets the things, he just pulled me to the side and he gave me a mirror. And he gave me a, I don't remember, yeah, it was an axe in his hand actually. So I don't know where he was going. A small little hand axe was there, you know, like that you used to cut down the broken trees and all those things. So these were the props that he had in his hand, and he gave me the both. And he says, keep the mirror down. And now, are you able to see yourself there? I said, yeah, I can see myself. It was not big mirror, but good enough to see myself. And in that moment, he said, the image that you see yourself in that mirror, now hit it with this axe. The image that you see in the mirror, hit it. And that very moment, I hesitated. Yes, my image is there. Why should I hit it? But still, he said, hit it now. And I somehow managed to do so. And as usual, the mirror was shattered. It was broken into pieces. And then, without even I looking at him, he just started pacing to tell me. He said, that's what you do when you attack others. You shatter parts of yourself first, because ego always seeks itself in others first. And if it is hurting you, it is your ego, not theirs. अगर तुमको ये लगता है कि वो इतना अच्छा क्यों कर पा रहा है, वो ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए, उसको नहीं आता, that means it's your ego that has been inflated. And what if the other person is just the image that you are seeing of your own self in them? And then you should know what should be done first. He said, if you are hurting anybody else and thinking that they are egoistic, remember, that's yours, not theirs. ये तेरा ego है, उनका ego नहीं है. They might have their own, but yours should be controlled by you, taken care by you. And that actually hit me like a thunder in that moment. Because what he really made me realize is, what disturbs us the most is often our own reflection. I see anger in another person because I'm angry. I see ugliness in another person because I might be feeling ugly that day. But the day I'm happy, the day I am beautiful, how would it be outside? And that's how he taught me that, are you still living a life with judgment? And are your judgments revealing what still lives within you? What part of my shadow was projecting in others, was his question. So that very day, a simple thing dawned upon me, and I said, if I feel angry about something else, let me take a moment to see, is it my reflection or truly the other person is angry? These things does not made any sense to a kid, but yet it learnt the deepest of the secrets at that time. And when you hear all these things, I am sure somehow or other all these things have also been told to you. Might be in a different way, might be by a different person. But that is what has shaped us in this life to become good people. Whether you realize to be a god or not, being a good human being is the first thing that we should all at least become that. And when I look at you, I'm not taking like, I keep your tantrums aside. Every child has that. So tantrums comes as a gift with childhood. So we'll not look into that. But that one part of you that is innocent, the one part of you that is benevolent, one part of you that feels pain for others, one part of you that is completely dedicated, devoted, one part of you that has understood that this world is not the final destination. And all these things have been ingrained into you since your childhood. So take a moment, close your eyes to thank all those people, those who shaped you to become the right things. Do the right things in your life. Because that attitude of gratitude should always be prevalent in all of us. And the moment आप जो शुक्राना करते हो ना, the moment you say thank you, the moment you show your gratitude, that place you don't need to meditate. You feel that silence within you instantaneously. So as you do so, I move on to another incident. Now you have to imagine again a small cave. A small cave again at the Siddheshwar temple. And there was a anushthan chal raha tha na. So there was some processes going on for days and days together. It was early morning time, and I was part of that process along with many people. And mind you, this is again at the age 7.5 that I'm talking about. So by that time, I was also again like in the part of people doing all those things together. Here in that small cave, we have been there for few days. We were meditating, chanting, and I was doing something else because all the other people were grown-ups. So I was one little fellow out there, too energetic, too enthusiastic, too freaky might be. So when all others are chanting and meditating, I added few things to that. I was chanting, I was meditating, and at the same time I was shouting, I was begging, I was pleading for God to answer me. Because I was thinking that all the other people, those who are sitting silently, they have already found God. That's why they are so happy. But I was trying to find an experience. There was no experience for me. I said, okay, abhi aayege. I was thinking like the God will appear at the door of the cave and walk towards me, saying that, hey, hi, how are you? That was how the thought of that child was. And that's why I was shouting, hey, hello, did you come? At times I disturbed all the people, but they knew me. So they didn't dare. And more than that, they knew like my father was a 6-time wrestling champion, right? And he was all around my side. So nobody dared to even do that. So I did my own tantrums and all those things. And some people used to laugh at me. Kya kar raha hai, dekho baith ke. And literally I was shouting, did God appear in this room? I still remember doing this. Did I missed it? You saw that? Did he appear? Because we have been doing sadhana for so long. He must have appeared. Did I miss it? Was I sleeping? So these were the questions, these were the shoutings that I was doing sitting there. And at times, like how it haath jod ke, God, please, please, sabko dikhai diya, humko bhi dikhai de do. So you do all the drama that you can do. And that very moment when I was shouting and, like that cave was like vacant and it was afternoon time, everybody went for lunch. Now the cave is vacant and you were sitting there. And I started my drama loudly because now I was loving the echo that was coming. How many of you have realized that you become singers when something echoes? एक खाली रूम में जाते ही आपको गाने का मन होता है. And when you say something or you sing something, it sounds so good and you say, I have become a singer today. I loved that part during Diwali when everything was taken out of the house to be cleaned. That room became a eco house, and I start singing there. It has a great impact, great effect while you sing, right? So I started doing the same thing. I started shouting. And in that moment when I was shouting, I didn't realize that JJ was actually not there part of it. But on that day, he has arrived. It was the seventh day of that sadhana. And I was shouting the very moment he entered the cave. I didn't knew he was coming from behind. So again, one good little pat on my back. And the moment the pat appeared, like hit me, I knew whose hand was at. And now I was thinking, from where did he appear? I was calling for somebody else. I was waiting, I was shouting, I was chanting for somebody else. From where did he appear? And that very moment, because he has already noticed what I was doing, he simply said by patting on my back, and it was not an easy one, it was a hard pat. And by the time it hit me, he simply said, "Give everything away. सब कुछ दे दे." I said, "Everything away" means? He said, "You will only exhaust yourself by doing all that you are doing. But if you know how to give it away," I mean, what was that? And he said, "You again think that you are doing something, because of that, the divine will appear. Now, give that doing away." वो क्या बोल रहा था, आप सबको अच्छे से समझ में आ गया। वो यही बोल रहे थे, कर्ता भाव छोड़ दो, स्टॉप बीइंग द डूअर. बट एज अ चाइल्ड ही कैन नॉट मेक मी अंडरस्टैंड, लाइक कर्ता भाव छोड़, बोले कर्ता कौन है? सो इन दैट मोमेंट he said, "Give up." And that very moment I gave up asking the questions. He said, "Stop your drama, stop your questions, just sit." And while listening to him, I just sat, and he says, "Just close your eyes and sit. I want you to close your eyes and sit." As if a big hard pat has been given to you. You just close your eyes and sit for a moment. Now experience what that child might have felt in that cave, where no one is around except the grandfather sitting there. And for this moment, all the questions that you had in your mind, all the worries that you have in your mind, all the troubles that you have in your mind, all the chaos that you have in your mind, all the turbulence that is there, for a moment, give it all away. You don't even have to think how, you don't even have to think whom to give. No. This very moment, just drop everything and experience what that child might have experienced that day. Because in that moment, silence flooded within me. It was absolutely empty. And it was full with emptiness. And in that silence, a truth blossomed. that words have never touched. शब्द कभी उस शांति के बारे में बात ही नहीं कर पाए थे. Because when questions fade away, when worries fade away, truth speaks. Because it speaks through silence. Silence does not speak until you stop asking. Now, in this moment, all that you ask is all that you need in this life. For a moment, leave everything this. Just leave it. All your achievements, all your worries, all your ideas, all your ideologies. Even drop the name that you hold so close to yourself. Even drop your breath and watch how the breath is happening without even your intervention. And if you mix that breath that is coming in and going out with a little happiness of your own, not borrowed, not taken on loan, not taken from anybody else, you already have that jar of happiness within you. Now, if you mix that happiness to your breath, free yourself from all the attachments, become as free as a floating cloud. Absolutely relaxed. Whenever mind starts thinking something else, take a deep breath and bring your focus back to the breath. Feel how the cool breeze is passing into you. In this space, turn around and see in those closed eyes or with those closed eyes. Whom do you see around you? Whom do you experience around you? The moment you experience it or see that, bring a big smile on your face because it will appear in that silence. Take your time. because you see what you have become. आपको वही सारे चीजें दिखाई देती है जो आप बन गए हो. जैसे एक चित्रकार को हर कोरे कागज के ऊपर चित्र दिखाई देता है. Like a painter sees painting on every plain paper, the sculptor sees a beautiful idol even in a stone. Similarly, if you have become that divine, even though you don't see anything, how is your heartbeat now? How is your breath now? And if I ask you to fall asleep, you said like that would be a great gift for a Sunday morning, especially in India. Now I want to add a little craziness to your experience. But that's not what I am going to do. It's you who is going to do that. You all have a music of your own that you hum around. Now, sitting in this space, instead of chanting any mantra, you start humming your own music to your own self, not for others, for your own self in that space. Does not matter whether it is a bhajan or a movie song, or it does not has any meaning at all. Just hum it. You know, if you hum it a little longer, you will fall asleep to your own lullaby. You will fall asleep to your own rhythm. You will fall asleep to your own song. But is it really sleeping? It is actually awakening within you. Because in this moment, you truly experience what you are within you. And that experience, that feeling, is no less than any meditation, no less than any samadhi. If you are feeling that happiness within you, just try to hold yourself. It's like self-hugging kind of thing that you say. You just take both your hands and you just hold yourself tightly, and you literally bend your head to the left shoulder and like a small little baby. You can cross your hands, hold yourself. And now you rock yourself as a child. एक छोटे से बच्चे को आप कंधे पे डाल के कैसे करते हो, बिल्कुल वैसे. You put the baby and you start rocking it. Rocking it means slowly moving yourself while still singing that song. How does it feel? Is it nothing as such like you have forgotten this kid in the sound of the world? You have taken too much of toll on your own self. You have been worried. I know you have a lot of problems. I know you have a lot of questions. I know there are many reasons to ask why me. What if the hands that are covering you today are the hands of God saying, don't worry. How about your hand becoming the hands of God, reassuring, holding you close and saying, still there. Let me add to your music. Shivam Shivakaram Shantam Shivatmanam Shivottamam Shivamarga Pranamami Sadashivam Shivam Shivakaram Shantam Shivatmanam Shivottamam Shivamarga Pranamami Sadashivam Pranamami Sadashivam Pranamami Sadashivam. If you have the provision to take a back support, slowly take that and just let go of your own self. Let go of everything in this space. Be like that open sky. Finally, as you sit with silence, let the silence speak. Because even in this state that you are, I narrate another's incident, but you listen to it from that space where you are right now. And I would like to call that the moon that forgot it was full. And in this moment, you should be realizing that you are already that which you were seeking. It was the rooftop of our house, and it was a full moon night. But that day, a thick veil of clouds covered the moon. चांद बादलों के पीछे छुप गया था. And I was trying to see the moon lying down on a charpai on the rooftop. And that moment I said, what can make me whole, grandfather? Because at times I feel broken. What can make me complete? Just imagine you lying down on the charpai and your grandfather being by your side and he just pointing out to the sky and saying to you, do you see the moon? As the clouds moved away, I could see the moon. And he said, it is already full, just hidden. So are you. Look how it shines, yet it thinks it's broken when clouds cover it. Because the moon might wax and wane. But does it really means the moon has become half or full? Because the moon does not need fixing. It needs remembering that it is already full. You don't need a fixing. You just need a reminder that you are already full. And in that moment, I lied down quietly, watching. Slowly the clouds parted, slowly the clouds went off, and the light of the moon spilled on our faces. Then he said, you don't need fixing, you need remembering. Because you are not broken. You are buried in thick cloud of illusion and ignorance. With this, take a deep breath in feel your completeness. Now you can slowly open your eyes. But do you want to open your eyes? How are you? कैसे हो आप? You are so full with emptiness, right, Vijay ji? So whenever you feel overwhelmed, whenever you feel you need power, I gave you a self-charging battery. You can practice it whenever you want. It does not need special arrangements. The only thing that needs is you. I strongly believe rather than waiting for that God to appear in some way, I make my hands Him. Anyways, that are His only. Shall I continue this? Then again go back to your space. Close your eyes. Again go back. Because all these stories are not to be heard. These have to be implanted like seeds in you. Drop your shoulders if you have again strained it back with all your problems. बड़े मजबूत कंधे दिए हैं भगवान ने आपको, इसलिए सारा भार अपने ऊपर लेके घूमते हो. You take everything on your own self. Just relax that shoulder, drop it. Literally drop your shoulders. Take a deep breath and go back to that space where nothing, you don't see anything, but it's just a beautiful space. Some people, when they look at an empty space, they feel like, oh, why is it empty? Let me keep it dirty or let me make it dirty. So you can do the other thing as well. When you find an empty space, you can make it beautiful as well. So create that beauty. And I might remind you of somebody who finds all the places, whichever is vacant, to put something there. But today I narrate you a story, a day of Makar Sankranti. And I still remember like so many kites were flying. Rather, I could say the kites were dancing in the blue sky and pulling against the thin threads that held them. And even I was flying a kite. My kite was flying high, and my pride was even higher. Because that day, I was able to cut many kites with that one. So the ego was boosted, thinking like, oh, mera manja sabse badhiya hai. You know manja, right? Like the thread that has been curated with glass particles and all those things. And I was able to, and in that moment, I was so happy. And I was flying higher than the kite itself on that day. But suddenly the thread snapped. Somebody was managed to cut my kite. The thread snapped. And that very moment I cried. Remember that 6-year-old. Now the question is, by 6-year-old you knew how to fly the kite? Yes. Quite advanced beings, right? In that moment I cried. And my question might be the question of all. I was asking, why does everything I hold and I take pride of slips away from me? Why can't anything stay with me forever because I like it? And in that moment, my question was arising, why? And that moment, JJ was sitting under the shade of a banyan tree. He simply held the broken end of the string and said softly, what you think you are holding was never yours. You were thinking you were holding the sky through the kite, and you thought the sky belonged to you. But my child, remember, the sky belongs to no one. And I was simply staring at him. And then he said, don't stare at me, stare at the sky. It does not hold anything. That's how the kites are able to fly. Become that, and everything will be yours. The sky does not stick one kite thinking it to be its. That's why a million kites can fly. The sky does not claim the birds to be his. That's why the million birds can fly. And in our lives, if I don't hold on to one thing, I create a million things that dance. I become that space. And that day, for the first time, I was looking at the sky that was filled with kites. I felt like it was decorated with colors. For the first time, I could not see the kites, but I saw like, wow, how beautifully it is decorated. And I just looked deep into the sky and I could feel the vastness of the sky. And it absolutely felt like my home. And that day I realized what I was holding on to, that was never mine. And in a deeper sense, I realized the body, the mind, the world, the attachments that I was holding to None of it was mine. I only make those things mine to which I hold on to, I grab at, I grasp it. मैं जिस चीज को पकड़ लेता हूं उसके साथ मैं खुद जुड़ जाता हूं. And remember, my dear friends, dear divine souls, you know, if somebody wants to tie a calf, एक बछड़ा है जिसको कोई किसी को बांधना है, what they will do, they will take a rope and they will find a pole where they can tie the thing. In this case, the rope is something that is tying the calf to the pole. But in doing so, is the rope free? Because it is tying something, it is also tied. Because it bound something, it is also bound. If we tie something, if we bind to certain things, you will realize you also get bound by default. But you are not the rope, you are the sky. You are not the chains. Can I ask you something to do? I want you to release a prisoner today. और समझदार को इशारा काफी होता है. So you know which prisoner I am talking about. I want you to release yourself from your boundings, from that rope that you have tied around it. Because at times, when you release something or somebody out of your miseries, you will come to a realization that it was not them, those who were in the jail or in the captivity. It was you. Because in binding them, you bind your own self. आप उनको बांध के रखने के चक्कर में खुद बंधे हुए हो. Can you free your own self? Spirituality begins there. And then God takes over. You remember, you might fly kite 1 day, 2 days, 10 days, 15 days, 1 month, but the sky is always there. Similarly, you might have worries, you might have pains, you might have happiness even. But look at the sky. You might be happy, sad, worried for few days, few months, few years, but the sky will stay beyond that. Become that sky. It would not be easy. Then let me narrate you one more incident. I went to a village along with my grandfather. And we got down from the bus. Still that uh, sandy road that you see, right? No vehicles. The only things that you see is the bullock carts and that soily road that you go, and when you walk, all red soil will be flying, and automatically by the time you reach home, you also look like Hanuman smeared with sindoor. I'm talking about that time. It had its own charm. It still has, if you are not worried about the clothes. And so we were walking. By the time we were walking, there was a empty space, like before even we enter into the village. You might have seen, like गांव शुरू होने से पहले कुछ खाली जगह होता है, खेत रहते हैं, फिर थोड़ा खाली जगह होता है, then houses begin. That was exactly the same setting. Then while walking along with me, I found a small little place, एक चबूतरे जैसा बना हुआ है, टूटा फूटा, it's all broken now. And there is this rock sitting there, means एक पत्थर रखा हुआ है, उसके ऊपर सिंदूर लगा हुआ है, but nobody is worshipping it anymore. It's like a abandoned place. And that moment I was asking my grandfather that, what is that? My grandfather says that that is a place of worship. And then I looked at the rock very carefully. I said, it looks very simple. It looks like any other rock. Why do they even worship the stone? It's just a rock. And he smiled. He took me close to that rock. He took another piece of rock and started scraping it. वो जो stone था ना, he started scraping it. And thereafter, what I saw, I could not imagine my eyes, because the moment he scraped out, there was something like water mixed with red sindoor or pigment, something like that, started slowly flowing from that. And it felt like as if it was blood. And then he whispered and he said, what you thought it to be a rock, right? When your heart is pure, even the stone can bleed. When your heart is pure, you even see the divine that shines in that stone. Don't think it is just a stone. It was just a stone until a pure heart touched it. That was like, I was looking at the stone, it felt like it is bleeding. And for that moment, I could not see the stone anymore. All that I could see, it was my own stillness, which had the potential to even reflect the divine in a stone. That day I realized that the divine is everywhere. Do I have that pure heart to invoke it even in a rock? So when I see many of our people in this group, they keep on seeing different deities in different places. अलग अलग चीजें दिखाई देने लगती है. And at times they question also. Is it just a blasphemy that I'm seeing all these things? Is it just my mind? Because I'm thinking about it always, I am seeing all that. For them, this is the story. It was just a rock until a pure heart touched it. It was just a watermark until the divine eyes within you could see it. It was just the air blowing like any other day, unless you found yourself in a space of vibration where you can feel the same breeze as the touch of God? Was it a rock? Was it a blasphemy? Was it just a watermark? Was it your thought? Or you have become that pure heart that whatever you touch now becomes divine? May you all be blessed with that, because in our lives, I would like to ask you this. In our lives, what would come alive if our hearts truly want to see it? Then you can see the God even in the smile of a child. Even you can see God even in your own self. And as I said, you might be as hard as a rock, as tough as a rock. I am ready to give my entire life, making you realize that you are that divine hidden in it. But can you afford not knowing yourself this time? I can do it throughout my life. But can you afford that? So if you cannot afford that, then let me narrate you another incident. Because at times we lose our own importance in our eyes. I remember it was the afternoon time, and I still remember that it was 3 o'clock because the radio was playing, and I still remember it said विविध भारती की कार्यक्रम यहीं समाप्त होते हैं, अगला प्रोग्राम. There used to be a particular like शिलोंग से प्रसारित होंगे. And it had that typical music. The moment you think of it, that music starts ringing within you. Just like Hawa Mahal, Fauji Bhaiyon ki Farmaish. So all these things were the things I used to listen because my grandfather used to listen all that. So I knew that it was 3 o'clock, and that time the radio was going down because after 15 minutes or 30 minutes it would restart. अगला प्रसारण के लिए समय था. That very moment, this afternoon, as I was lying down around and I was saying, I asked him, I'm growing strong, right? Because he was the one who pushed me to do exercises. I was like, I'm growing strong, right? And he said, yeah, you are. And then I said, yes, among all my friends, I have become a little bit stronger, I believe. My body is so important, right? And then I said, thank you for teaching me to do exercises at this age, because my body, I now feel that it is so important. And without that, what can I do? Without this body, what can I do? I don't know, like, what was the thought of the kid when it was saying all that. He did not answer anything, because many a times he took the advantage of me, I believe. He chose to keep quiet. And when he chose to keep quiet, I said, okay, might be I asked a wrong question. But the same evening, I remember like taking water out of the well, and वो छोटे छोटे पेड़ होते हैं ना आपके घर में, like you had small little plantations and you put water into that. I used to do that every single day. And now I realize that every single day I used to water that, and every single morning I would pluck the flowers from it. So that day I was carrying the water in a clay pot. Plastic to utna tha nahi, like. So I still remember it was just a clay pot. So when I was taking that clay pot and was about to pour the water, I fell. I tripped actually. I tripped and fell on that. And the pot shattered. This was quite a new pot that I had liked it because of the paintings on it. वो दिवाली के समय पे आता है ना, कुछ वैसा ही था. That the painted pots. And I was saying like, wow, how beautiful it looks. I thought, see, kids will be kids. I thought like a beautiful pot would make a beautiful plant grow. And I fell. I tripped and fell, and it broke. The moment it broke, I was so ashamed myself, because the day before yesterday only I had challenged everybody at my home to give me 50 paise to bring that pot, and today the pot is broken. आपको याद होगा तब 25-50 पैसे के लिए झगड़े किए करते थे, विनतियां की करनी पड़ती थी, भगवान के पास जाके मन्नतें मांगनी पड़ती थी कि भगवान आज कहीं से 25 पैसे मिल जाए, 10 पैसे मिल जाए. दैट वाज आवर वर्ल्ड. गलती से किसी ने अगर 2 रुपए दे दिए तुमको तो हार्ट अटैक आ जाए. बोला ये भगवान की असीम कृपा हो गई हम पे आज. That was the prized possession kind of thing that has happened, and I broke it. And I was now ashamed. You know why? Because your siblings will be around, right? And they will not leave any chance to bring that good thing and say, hey, it is you only who was fighting for it yesterday and you broke it. And I was ashamed, like, how can I do that? How did I fell? I didn't saw anything there. How did I fell? And in that moment when this happened, I cried. I thought like I ruined it. Then I could see the old man walking from inside the home towards me. I said, gone, because he was the one from whom I have taken that 50 paise. The fathers are very tough, right? Grandfathers are easier. So the easy targets, I took it, and now I said, gone. Today he is going to put another thing on me. But in that moment, when he came towards me from that house, he just didn't said anything to me. He just took the broken pieces of that what you call as एक word use करते English में. Okay, so those broken pieces of the pot. Okay, so he just took up the broken pieces, and whatever the water was remaining in that, he poured it into the plants. And he said, don't stop, even you broke it. Because the plant does not needed the pot, the plant needed the water. Whatever water is left, pour it. You know what he was saying? He was saying, never, ever, ever give away your goodness, because people did not understood you. Never give up doing the good things because somebody broke you. Never stop being good because somebody tried to destroy you. Because what you wanted to give is not that ego of yours, not to showcase what you are, but that what is contained within. And along with that, he taught me one beautiful thing. He said, the pot was never the treasure, the water was. And the body that you were talking about this afternoon is not the treasure, but you are. So never ever lose that treasure if the pot breaks. You know what he was telling me? He was saying कि अगर साधना करते करते शरीर टूट भी जाता है ना, don't give up. Because that body will break, you will not. Or जैसे the way I took whatever was left and poured it into the plant. The day when your body breaks and you are not able to do your sadhana completely, whatever is left, pour it back at the divine. Is as simple as that and as tough as that. Because it's easy to be happy when everybody is saying wow to you. And at times, life itself plays crazy stuff on us. I still remember, the body is not the treasure, you are. And that day I understood that I thought my body was that me. But now I realized I am not that clay. I am actually the essence that is behind it. And from that day on, I stopped confusing this container of life to be life itself. It's just the container. But do we learn our lessons? A new day, a new me. एक और नया दिन, एक और नया मैं. This day, I was playing around with my younger brother. मेरे से और छोटा था, almost 3 years, 4 years younger than me. And I was feeling like I am big, I am strong, and I was taking an advantage in the game. सच है, I was taking the advantage. I said, okay, तू खेल लेकिन जीतूंगा तो मैं ही. So I was being that big person in front of him. I was taking the advantage. We generally do that, even unknowingly. When we feel we are big at certain places, we start taking advantages without knowing, without intention. This is what happens to us, and that's how our ego hijacks us. वो हमारा ego जो होता है ना, हमको कब लेके चला जाता है हमें पता भी नहीं चलता वो समय. And that was one more point, how when I was thinking like, oh, I'm so strong, I'm so, and I was taking all the advantage of that little fellow. I didn't knew that somebody was standing in the corner and watching me. Who it would be? Obviously, you know who. So he was just watching me from a corner, and the wise man, he did not said anything for any certain time, and he suddenly stopped me by coming towards me, and he said, "Stop, stop, stop! What you are doing?" And told me, "Let us go to the river." I said, "Now." यही फायदा होता है ना, when you have a what do you say, a swimming pool in your locality, anytime you can go. हमारे लिए नदी था. We had a ever flowing swimming pool. So anytime there was no work, let's go to the river. I love that part because it was so amazing there. And he said, "Let's go to the river." I said, "Now I'm playing. Why you want me to take me there?" He said, "No, no, let's go. Let him play." And then he took me to the river. And once we reach the river bed, matlab, oh, I was just standing near the river. He brought out two things. He picked up a rock, and somehow I don't know from where he pulled out. Like at times I feel like he was a magician. And he brought out a feather from somewhere. I could see like he picked up the rock, but from where he got the feather, I don't know. So he gave me both. And when he gave me both, he said, "Throw the feather." There was current in the river. Pani beh raha tha. He said, "Throw this feather into the river." And before that, he asked me that you have a rock in your hand, you have a feather in your hand, which one is stronger? Of course, any fool can say that. I said, "What happened to this old man?" So easy questions for me today. I said, "Of course, the rock. It's strong." Then he said, "Okay, do one thing. Throw the feather into the water." And I threw the feather into the water, and it floated and danced and went on with the river flow. Then he asked me, "Throw the rock." And I threw the rock, and it sank. And he laughed. I was thinking, why there is so much of laughing? इस बात पे क्या हंसना है? And that very moment he said, "Strength is not in heaviness and not in taking advantage of it. True strength is in lightness." He was telling me, अगर तू भारी बन जाएगा ना, जीवन में डूब ही जाएगा ये संसार में. If you become too heavy, you will drown in this world. But if you keep yourself light as that feather, it will float. और जीवन की धारा में बहते हुए कब किनारे पहुंच जाओगे पता भी नहीं चलेगा. Like just floating in that. When you will reach, even you will not know it. So my dear child, don't take advantage of your heaviness or your strength or your anything that you have reached. And he was actually asking me the question, what in my life feels heavy that could actually be made lighter? मैंने अपने जीवन में क्या ऐसे चीजों को भारी भरकम बना रखा है जिसको आसान बना देना चाहिए? And that day I learned that in whatever positions you reach in your life, if you are still not lighter, you will drown. You will never reach the end of it. You might reach the depth of it, but not the end of it. So these stories, these spaces, these things that keep on reminding me of how the life has shaped. Then there I remember one more incident. Uh, at times you feel caged by your mind, by your thoughts. It was someday like that. My exams were around and I knew I was not prepared for the exams. How many of you are like me, were like me? No, good. अच्छा, कल्याणी जी ओनली। बाकी सब तो पढ़ाकू थे ना तुम लोग। हमारे जैसे बच्चों के ऊपर अत्याचार करते थे अच्छे मार्क्स लाके। हमें तो कभी कभी लगता था इतना मार्क्स लाने का जरूरत क्या है, तुम्हारे मार्क में हमारे जैसे 3 पास हो जाए। शर्म भी नहीं आती थी। 90%, 90, 92, 94। वी वर स्ट्रगलिंग एट 33 स्टिल। एंड इट वाज दैट टाइम, पढ़ाई क्या करना, हाउ टू गेट रीड, पढ़ाई कैसे करूं, दिमाग जाम हो चुका है। You ask me to go for a swim, I would. You ask me to study the book, I would not. I hope Iman is not listening this. If he listens also, what will happen? He will know my truth. So that day, it was a space where the mind was completely traffic jam. I told him my mind feels like a cage. I simply asked, my mind is a feels like a cage. कभी लगा है आपको ऐसा? तो सारे रास्ते बंद है, दिमाग पूरा जाम हो चुका है। हुआ है ना सबके साथ? सीपी ऐसा कभी हुआ है? So when I said why my head is feeling like this, like a cage, he simply asked me a question. Very good. Your head feels like a cage. Now tell me, where is the door? Because every cage has a door. He said, if you feel like your brain has become a cage, your mind has become a cage, show me the door. And I searched and searched and searched. There was no door. It was absolutely actually an open space. I have imagined a cage within that. He says, तो जो परीक्षा के लिए डर रहा है ना, जो डर है, उस डर किस दरवाजे से उस केज के अंदर गया ये दिखा मेरे को पहले। Show me that door. And I was thinking, okay, really? All that thoughts are going on into my mind. Through which door did they enter? Which door? At that very moment, I saw that खाली जगह था, मैंने केज बना दिया. We just created a cage there. And I didn't knew how I did that. He said, you don't find that cage and the door because the cage was never real. It was never real. And then he asked me, what all cages have you built within yourself? कि तुझसे पढ़ाई नहीं होती, तू पढ़ नहीं सकता. You know, the very next time I gave the exam, what I did not that time, तब तक चिड़िया चुग गई, खेत हो चुका था. I managed to pass this time, but the next exam, 97.8%. from 33 to 97.8. Because I realized that there was no cage except the cage that I built for myself. But I lost few of my friends and made new enemies. All my 33 group, they also started looking me as if तेरे एक मार्क में हमारे जैसे 3 पास हो सकते थे. And that upper class of 94, 95, they become my new enemies. He said, how that idiot of 33 can come to this space above us? Now they were creating cage and I was free. Did you realize that? How many times we have created cage for our own selves and have kept ourselves into that space? It might be a situation of life. It might be a situation at business. It might be a situation with family. It might be a situation with the neighbor. It might be a situation with the world. But all these things are just things out there. Why should I limit myself into that? And that day, I stopped building cages. Because that cage is not for anything else, but I bind myself in it. मैं अपने आप को ही बांध के रख लेता था उसमें. Can you take a moment and tell me what cages have you built around yourself? My boss is like this. My neighbor is like this. I give you option to think because every one of us has a story to tell. How about giving you a chance that सच में विजय जी ना इतने हैं कि काउंट भी नहीं है. So now you were that child who didn't knew that you were building the cage. But now if you have understood that there is no cage, what would you do? That's something that you should work on. Breaking those patterns. I tell you, yesterday, 2 young fellows were there with me and they were asking me how amazing it would be to be rich. I said, yes, ask those people, those who are, they will tell you their story. Then I said that when you become rich, you sit in a wonderful house and all that you see is the roof of the house. But if you are poor and you are sitting, you can see the sky, not the ceiling. And now when you look at the sky, you have the potential to reach it. Because they were kids, they need answers. They thought that only if they become rich, they will be happy. I said, don't create a roof and limit yourself. Look at the roof created by the God, which is limitless, and grow. And when you look at your house, you might feel that, oh, I have built it. But when you look at that, you will know, कुछ भी नहीं किया तुमने. You have not done anything yet, and that will humble you down. याद है ना, when you go to the rooftop, or when you didn't even had a roof kind of thing, you had this open space and a रस्सी का खटिया था जो, that rope cot. Even that was not available. कभी कभी तो वो चटाई डाल के उसी के ऊपर सो जाते थे. I still wonder how we were able to sleep, because now the memory foam, this, that, orthopedic, still we get up with back pain. And we were sleeping just like that on that chatai, rajai, and we didn't felt any pain. Have I pampered my body too much, or what is the question that I think now? And yesterday I tried that. I removed the pillow and I slept on the ground. And it felt so amazing. I woke up, I thought like pakad lega. Nothing happened. It was absolutely fine. And now I have found a new place to sleep. Just here, there is a small place. I can just lie down there anytime. Because that's how you simplify many things in your life, might be. It does not make any sense, but at times it should not make sense. You should feel comfortable. You should feel happy. That's why I keep on saying people go buy something for yourself, not because you want it. No, buy it. That 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 little happiness might be you get for a moment in that. You go buy that. After buying that, don't look at your bill. Look up and say, thank you. Now pay. Because you should not miss out on the simplest of the simplest thing. I see so many people in our group. We have a variety of people in that. And I'm able to tell this by connecting to one specific person in this room, because he has appeared here after so many days, relaxing on his chair with a blue t-shirt. But the thing is, what I have learned from this person is how to be happy, how to dance, how to sing, how to be happy with the family. I saw in his videos. I saw in his sharings. And you know whom I am talking about? I'm talking about CP, the youngest kid who is here for the first time. I have never seen him leaving an opportunity to dance. And he has injected that into his kids now. Happiness is not money. Happiness is a wealth that is already within you. So CP, thank you for teaching that to us. Isn't it beautiful? म्यूजिक कोई भी हो नाच लेंगे, है ना? जीवन का कोई भी म्यूजिक हो, any music of life, we can still dance on it. Whether it is a test, whether it is a situation, whatever it is, we can still dance. Can you dance? Will you dance? So with this, I would like to stop here today. Because now, whatever stories I could tell, whatever situations, there are many more to be spoken. But these were not stories. These are like living mirrors for me. They are the whispers of the teacher who never gave answers but always provided me with doorways. जिसने मुझे कभी उत्तर नहीं दिया, उसने मुझे रास्ता बता दिया. And today, I do not ask you to remember my grandfather, not to remember my JJ. I ask to remember your own self. Take a deep breath. Let that silence after these words speak louder than any mantra within you. Because as now I remember and I think about him, I only remember these were not just stories. These were actually explosions, implosions, reminders, and revelations. And my grandfather never preached. He actually pierced into me. And today I pray that it should not become a preaching to you. May it pierce you and reach you into your deepest core. Not because you should remember him, but you should remember yourself. And as he would say, let us not thank the Guru who stands before us. Let us awaken the Guru who sleeps within us. And as I said last time, the greatest offering to a Guru is not flowers. It is your own transformation. And that's what he taught me. And I still say, thank you, JJ. Thank you for passing on these amazing, simple things into me. And thank you all for listening to it. But will you pass it on? Will you pass it on to the next generation? Because you all will get a chance to do so. What will you do with that knowledge? What will you do with that stories? You know what I did? I exactly did what he taught me. I got freedom from his stories as well. Now those stories are yours. With this, I would like to bring a pause to my words. And if you like these stories, do share it. Because I believe last stories were not good enough because nobody shared it. What was your learning? You never said that. I said, okay, JJ, I was not good today. I'll be better tomorrow. Oh, do share what was your takeaway. What is you? Because these are not hard hitting things. These are very soft things that actually even soak you and even you will not know that. क्योंकि पुराण कथाएं हम सब सुन सकते हैं, हम सब पढ़ सकते हैं, ये चीजों को कोई नहीं बोलेगा आपको आके. So thank you for your time. Thank you for becoming that kid again. And thank you for allowing me to speak. You became the sky in which I could fly the kites. And it looked beautiful. So thank you. And now if the kite, the string of the kite breaks, I still know you will take it to a safe place. Okay, CP wants to share something. Go ahead.
प्रणाम मनोज जी, मेरी आवाज क्लियर आ रही है?
बहुत अच्छे से आ रही है, गूंज रही है मानो.
धन्यवाद। पिछली बार कंट्री क्लब में आपका जन्मदिन के लिए सभी को आपने इनवाइट किया था। मैं
नहीं
भी आया
मैंने
था।
नहीं किया था चंद्र प्रकाश जी, सच मानो मैंने किसी को नहीं बुलाया था, सब आ गए थे, मुझे लास्ट में लेके गए। एनीवेज व्हाट एवर इट इज, या चंद्र जी।
जी। तो उस दिन आपने बोला था कि 4 तारीख कुछ था जन्मदिन, तो 5 तारीख को बटुक जी का जयंती है। एटलीस्ट जाप कीजिए, माला जाप कीजिए, या दिया लगाइए, एटलीस्ट अगरबत्ती लगाइए, बोल के बोला था आपने। तो उस दिन वहां पर मैंने बैठे बैठे छोटा सा संकल्प लिया था कि एटलीस्ट 45 डेज इस बार तो जाप करूंगा बोलकर। तो उस दिन से लेकर आज तक मैंने एक दिन भी ब्रेक नहीं हुआ। डेली सुबह सुबह जाप किया हूँ 3 माला, जैसे बटुक भैरव जी का, स्वर्णाकर्षण भैरव जी का, और धनाकर्षण भैरव जी का। आज 45 डेज कंप्लीट हुआ मेरा।
वाह, अमेजिंग। 45 डेज ऑल्सो डन। समय
जी।
कैसे भाग जाता है, टाइम
कुछ
जस्ट
भोजन में
पास।
परिवर्तन किया हूँ, कुछ भोजन में परिवर्तन किया हूँ, कुछ चीजों को दूर किया हूँ। तो मैं ऐसा सोचा नहीं कि कुछ मैं कर सकता हूँ या नहीं, लेकिन मैं ट्रायल में गया था, लेकिन सक्सेसफुल हो गया 45 डेज। तो मैं कुछ एक्सपेक्टेशंस नहीं लगा रहा था कि उनके दर्शन हो, मुझे कुछ मिले बोलकर। बस आपने बोला, मुझे अच्छा लगा, छूट गया था मेरे से जाप करना, तो इस बार सोचा कि जाप करूं। तो आज 45 डेज कंप्लीट हुआ। बीच में कुछ अनुभव तो नहीं हुआ, 2 अनुभव हुए मेरे को। स्वर्णाकर्षण जी का दर्शन हुआ एक बच्ची के रूप में। मैं कहीं पे गया था, जब गाना गाने गया था, और सब बच्चे कुछ अलग अलग भगवान के मुकुट रूप धारण करके कुछ पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे थे। कि आज फोटो देखा तो स्ट्राइक हुआ मेरे को। उस दिन स्वर्णाकर्षण जी का दर्शन हुआ था मेरे को एक बच्ची के रूप में, काला मुकुट, वो एक ही ध्यान में था मेरे को। तो उस दिन वहाँ खड़े रहे थे उनको, बस वो बच्ची को मैं खड़े रह के नमस्कार किया। और बीच में डेली अगरबत्ती लगा रहा था, तो एकदम सामने रहता है ना धूप का छोटा स्टिक, वो मैं भूल गया था लाना। आज लगाएंगे बोल के भूल गया, तो देखा तो जो अगरबत्ती का एक डब्बा ला था, उसके अंदर मिला मेरे को लकीले। तो मैंने डब्बी निकाला था, उसके अंदर भी आज तक कभी मैं सोचा ना ऐसा भी नाम रहता बोल के। तो उस दिन निकाला तो डब्बी में जो मैं जाप कर रहा था वही नाम मिला मुझे, मैं सामने लगाया हूँ ये।
वाह।
मैं जिनका जाप कर रहा था वही नाम से मुझे साम्राणी का बॉक्स मिला अगरबत्ती के डब्बी के अंदर। तो एक अनुभव है। तो अगरबत्ती ये डब्बी को देखते हुए मैं जाप करता हूँ। तो जितने दिन कर रहा हूँ उतने दिन अब तक मुझे कुछ फ्रस्ट्रेशन नहीं आया, कुछ गुस्सा नहीं आया। मन शांत था। गुस्सा आने से पहले विचार आता मैं गुस्सा क्यों करूं। तो एक मेरे को बहुत अच्छा अनुभव हो रहा, जो भी जिस दिन मेरे को अच्छा अनुभव हो रहा था उस दिन तीनों भैरव को और सर्व देवी देवताओं को मैं धन्यवाद जो व्यक्त करता हूँ हर बार के। जो अनुभव हो रहा है, जो कुछ भी मुझे मिल रहा है, इसके लिए आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद बोल के मैं धन्यवाद बोलता हूँ। आज भी मैंने वही बोला कि 45 डेज मुझे मैंने जो किया है, जो मुझे अनुभव हुआ है, वो अनुभव के लिए आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। वो दिखता नहीं, लेकिन जो अंदर महसूस होता है ना, वो अमेजिंग है मेरे लिए। तो मैंने लास्ट टाइम भी शायद मैंने मैसेज किया था, शायद कोई नोटिस नहीं कर रहे, मैं बोला था कि 20 तारीख को मैं कुछ बोलूंगा बोलकर। तो 45 डेज मैंने संकल्प लिया था कि आज मेरा 45 डेज कंप्लीट हो गया, जो मैंने संकल्प लिया था। तो आई एम प्राउड ऑफ यू चूजन मी टू सर्व हिम थ्रू यू। तत्वमसी।
तत्वमसी।
आपने जो स्टोरीज कुछ सुनाए थे, मैं उन चीजों को कुछ अप्लाई किया हूँ, जो अनुभव हुआ है। शायद मैं सेशन अटेंड नहीं कर रहा हूँ, बट थोड़ी चीजों को मैं अप्लाई कर रहा हूँ। मेरी भक्ति जो है, मेरा जो डिवोशन है, आप शायद मेरे वीडियोस देखते हैं तो मेरे गाने में करता हूँ, मेरी भक्ति गाने में बताता हूँ। मैं जहाँ पे भी जाता हूँ लोग खुश होते हैं मेरे गाने के अंदर, सब लोग अलग सीरियस गाते हैं, मैं गाने को हर एक बीट को एंजॉय करता हूँ, ऐसे गाता हूँ कि मैं भजन गा रहा हूँ, उसके लिए गा रहा हूँ। और उसको धन्यवाद करता हूँ कि मुझे कुछ स्किल्स दिए हैं, स्किल्स
यस,
को पॉलिश करता हूँ, उसमें मेरी जिंदगी को मैं एंजॉय कर रहा हूँ। मेरे पास आज कुछ भी नहीं है, बस जो कुछ है वही मेरे लिए बहुत कुछ है।
एब्सोल्युटली। और ऐसे ही चमकते रहो, वैसे ही नाम ही चंद्र प्रकाश है, तो चमकना तो जरूरी है।
जी।
और साथ ही साथ कीप ऑन, जो साधनाएं कर रहे हो ना उसको कंटिन्यू रखिए। मैं वही कहता हूँ, जीवन में इतने सारे चीजें हम करते हैं परिवार के लिए, बच्चों के लिए, पूरा दिन इसके पीछे बिता देते हैं, तो संसार की सुख सुविधाओं के लिए। Can't we do 10 minutes or 15 minutes for that spiritual help also? We should actually.
और बीच में मैंने रेकी का भी, जो रेकी लेवल 2 तक किया हूँ, रेकी का भी मैंने बीच में ऐसे संकल्प किया था कि एटलीस्ट 21 डेज करेंगे बोलकर। वो भी देखते देखते ऑलमोस्ट 60 डेज में कंटिन्यू करा विदाउट ब्रेक।
Wow. So छूटना नहीं चाहिए वो सारे चीजें। Keep it in practice.
तो हर एक साधना से अलग अलग अनुभूति हो रही है मुझे, रेकी से अलग अनुभूति हो रही है, जो ये साधना से अनुभूति हो रही है। जो कुछ भी लोग सिखा रहे हैं सबके लिए एटीट्यूड रखते हैं, एटीट्यूड।
Thank you, Chandraprakash ji, for coming and sharing that part, and more than that, keeping your own word to your own self. अपने बात आपने अपने लिए रखा। 40 दिन का जो साधना संकल्प लिया था, 45 डेज का आपने किया, दैट इट सेल्फ स्पीक्स ए लॉट। बहुत। बट मेरा यही रहेगा, साधना नहीं छूटना चाहिए। ठीक है। थैंक यू सो मच, एंड thank you everyone for again your time, and for your love, and for your, what all can I say? I cannot say much to you. So till we meet again on our Q&A session on Wednesday, I give a break to my words, yet declaring Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. हर हर महादेव। बोलो बांके बिहारी लाल की जय, और उनके प्यारी राधा की भी जय, हमारी प्यारी राधा की भी जय, आपकी प्यारी राधा की भी जय। राधे राधे। थैंक यू।